Welcome to Hello Chaos, a weekly podcast exploring the messy and chaotic minds and lives of founders, entrepreneurs, and innovators. Each week, I have the privilege to speak with founders across the spectrum, founders from different industries at various stages, from startups to mature businesses of all sizes. Our listeners get to hear the raw and the unvarnished viewpoints, those stories, getting incredible insights and what it takes to start and scale a business and really to become a better CEO and business leader. Today, our guest I'm very excited to have on the show is Dr. Stem. I'm going to try to pronounce her name appropriate, but it's Sithembile Mahlatini.
Yeah,
And we call her Dr. Stem.
you got
I got it. She is a licensed mental health professional. She is a host of her own podcast called Bouncing Back with Dr. Stem, where she shares insights on personal growth and mental wellness. Dr. Stem is also the founder of Bounce Back Empowerment Conference. She does workshops. She has a Bounce Back boutique and the Bounce Back book series. Welcome to Hello Chaos, Dr. Stem.
hello. So glad to be here. Thank you so much. And you did well. That
Did I
pronunciation,
do it? Did I?
spot on.
I love it. So just start us out. Tell us about how did you get involved to becoming a founder, starting your own business, and really like your whole brand around this bouncing back inside of your, in the mental health profession.
Yes, thank you so much. So, I'm originally from Zimbabwe and I've been in the United States this year, will be 38 years. Both my father and my mother owned like little businesses where there was a little grocery store, and my dad was a real estate agent and he owned his own real estate agent. So, I grew up surrounded by business minded, my father on my mother's side was a business person as well in the Mutare area in Harare. So I grew up seeing all of that
You saw that.
independence and
Wow.
business.
That's so fortunate. Yeah, as I did not. So I'm amazed when, people talk about like that was surrounded by that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, unbeknownst to me, I didn't know that that would be a really big influence in my life and career. So I came to the United States. I was supposed to just get a degree, 4-year degree, go back home, get married, have kids, be barefoot and pregnant, right? But that
You're like,
didn't.
nope, pivot.
What happened was when I finished my therapy, my master's degree in social work, I have a master's degree in social work. I was now licensed as a clinical social worker, which is a psychotherapist. And
Okay.
I worked for many different agencies. As I was working for the many different agencies, many different programs, what I realized was I was not a good employee. Something in me just said, I don't want to work for anyone. I don't want to be told what time to clock in and clock out. When I wanted to take a vacation, then I have to ask someone. I don't work on my birthday. And then
Right.
they say, well, you got 3 other people with the same birthday, March 9th. They take their birthdays off. And that did it for me. I said, okay, we're going to have to do something here. So I started looking into private practice for mental health so that I could be a private practitioner. And that was mostly because of that stubbornness. So
Yeah.
that stubbornness also led to that independence that I can't do this, but there's something about me. And I realized that no, I don't do well, being told to jump and saying how high. I said,
Right.
I don't do well in
You
that.
set your own rules.
I
Yeah.
set my own rules. But then, the other thing is financially, right? When you have a paycheck, it's the same paycheck that you get from time to time.
Hmm.
Whereas now when you get a business, I learned that you get profits and you can have profits, I'm in Baku
Right.
because you are in control. I said, okay, this sounds good. Hence the time when I started off, it was global counseling coaching
Okay.
services because I did counseling and coaching services. And within the years, I changed it to global training, coaching, and consulting services. That's the umbrella of the bounce back, programs that I do. So
Yeah.
I founded that probably, I think it was in 2005.
Wow. So you've
Yes.
been doing this for
I
a
mean,
while. Yeah. So what's been the most rewarding aspect of being a founder, starting, kind of taking ownership of your
It is taking ownership of my world. I'll tell you you said the advantages?
The rewards, like
The
what's been the
reward.
most rewarding part of it?
Okay, okay. So the rewarding part of it, as I mentioned, right, I get to be my own boss, and
Yeah.
I love the boss of me because
I was like, do you like yourself as a boss?
I love it
How
because
do
I
you
get to
love your boss?
I get to travel, I get to do what I want, I get to see, the number of clients that I want, and I also get to accept and deny clients that I don't want to work with. So
Yeah.
it's
You
really
have
been
more control.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
been, a good reward in doing so. But let me tell you something. One of the things when I first started my career, I remember in school being told that the most difficult population to work with as a therapist are teenagers. And I vowed sitting in that class, I said, I don't even want nothing to do with them because they're difficult, they're hard. And then I get out in the world and I start working, and every program that I worked with, for some reason they assigned me teenagers. So when I started my business, with the global counseling, which is now it's now the Bouncing Back Academy, but it used to be the global, the Dr. STEM Academy. I started off working with teenagers, right?
Okay.
So working with teenagers, one thing that I learned and I wanted to do for the teenagers as well as their parents was to be an example, to lead by example. So
Yeah.
me owning a business also went beyond just having a career, but also expanding and getting into business. So that has been one of the most rewarding things that I've got, because I have influenced and also coached a lot of young people and also people
Set
that,
their foundation right
yes,
early. Yeah.
yes.
So what's been the most challenging part of being your own boss and being a founder?
There are many challenges.
Yeah.
There are many challenges. And I think what happens is you get an idea and all of a sudden you get excited about the idea. So I was one of those people that said, oh, I'm going to do my own business. I'll be in my own private practice and I'll do this. So I told the whole world that I'm going to do this. So once you do that, there's a certain pressure that comes through where people keep asking, so did you do it? When
Right.
are you going to do it?
How's it going? Yeah.
It's almost like a condescending way to say, so you think you're going to do that? So now, you have this weight on you to say, I got to do this because then they keep looking at me and they keep
Right.
asking me, and maybe I can't do it. And maybe I'm just too ambitious. And I heard that a lot. And if you are in business and a founder, you're going to hear that maybe you're too ambitious. So I heard that. But then the pressure mostly was on myself, because then I began to self doubt myself. I
Yeah.
began to not believe that it was possible for me to
That
do
imposter syndrome.
that imposter
Oof. It's
syndrome.
awful. Yeah.
But then I work with people that struggle with imposter
Yeah.
syndrome. But I didn't realize that I was the number one person struggling with it. So if there's anything that, I know I could say to people that are in business or planning to find a business, make sure you have a coach and a therapist,
Mm,
mental health therapist and a business coach,
yeah.
those two. So I needed to practice that as well, because then I am one, with people who work with me, they get two in one. They get a therapist, a mental health therapist professional
And
over 25 years. They also get a business life and career coach in the same package. But I have two of them. I have my mental health therapist and I also have my business coach. So the two of them help me deal with the imposter syndrome, where I needed to go back to the table to believe in myself, to believe in my capabilities and
right.
my abilities, and also to see the vision and believe that it is a vision that can be implemented and be helpful to people.
Okay.
Yes.
So, were there any myths out there that you were okay? This is what people have said. Well, I mean, you grew up with it, with parents being a business owner and all that. That you were like, that is not how it works. Was there anything that like hit on those levels of misconceptions, misperceptions of being a founder?
Yes, because then when you hear or even see the the signatures, founder, CEO, and everything, right? You don't see what's in the background, the work
Right.
that's in the background, the fear that is in the background. How scary it is
Yeah.
to even
The
have the business
pressure.
and have it
Ugh.
work, the pressure that is
Yeah.
there, the stress that is there. Because then with my parents, great parents, I mean, you always saw them
But they
smiling.
hid it. Did they hide it? They didn't reveal that part to you.
No,
Yeah.
no, they were always happy. And you go to the little store or you go to my dad's real estate, they were doing well, but you didn't realize that behind it all, there were tears, nights where you cry yourself out. There were moments where you just don't believe that you got it in you. And then you work with other people and you see other people
Right.
and they make it seem like it's easy. Girl,
Right.
you can do this. And then you sit down, you're like, but I can't understand it. I don't know
Right.
how to put this piece into that piece to market this and to make sure that people come back. I don't know how it works. So those were the misconceptions, because then you think that it's just going to flow. I open a
Right.
business, it's just going to flow and fall into place. But then you gotta have the money, you gotta have the time, you gotta
That's
have
right. You got to have the systems and the structure, and it's not easy to.
yeah,
And yeah, we went through that. I mean, even I had 20 plus years of working with um, brands of all shapes and sizes. I worked in agencies before I started my marketing company,
yes,
and I lived in the boardroom and worked at. But it was so much easier when I started the company. I was like, that it was a lot harder for me, um, because I was not. It was my own brand versus I got to thrive, and I don't know if it was like I felt safer under somebody else's kind of
yes,
agency brand, and that was like a big aha for me of when I came in and started, own my own company. The pressure, the imposter syndrome was like unreal. Yeah, it just, it was a lot more difficult to figure out systems and the financial part of it, and how do you scale? How do you then help to lead teams under your brand? Yeah.
but
It's
then I'm sure you would agree with me that today, I think, after 20 something years in business, today we have processes that were not available to us when we started.
yeah.
So,
Information that wasn't just
yes,
access to things that we're not. And really a lot of that stuff has just come in the last probably
yes,
5 years has
I
like
think so.
flooded the support for entrepreneurs and founders.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So it's really exciting. So I was happy to come here and discuss this, because
Yeah.
then the stories have changed. And, I mean, if I were to start a business today, boy, it's such a great time because there's so many resources
Yeah.
that people can tap into and not make it as challenging or difficult as it
Right.
was for us today.
Exactly. And I mean, with incubators, accelerators, but just like podcasts and books and everything. And I also think that, and one of the reasons we started this podcast and the media company, Orange Whip, was really bringing that connective tissue in the entrepreneurial ecosystem to normalize conversations that imposter syndrome is real. Here's how other people have dealt with it, or the stress. And so you've got to work on your resilience and mental wellness, because a decade ago, the suicide rate was the highest in like founders and entrepreneurs, and I think, I know when I started, 10 plus years ago, I felt so alone until I started, 5 plus years into the business, and I found a community, and I was like, oh my gosh, I wish I had this community
Yes,
when I started.
yes,
So
yes,
like you said, having a coach, having a therapist, but also having this greater community, of other founders, like missioned
yes,
people that you can either hear from, you can hear their stories, or you can connect with them at a local level. And we've heard this from founders that, it's interesting. I don't know if you have felt this, Dr. Stem, in your community, whether it's virtual or local. Founders seem to give their time easier. Like, I can pick up the phone and call, here's 10 people that I admire, or I need, I either want to grab coffee, or can someone jump on, a Teams call. And if they're a founder, they will make time, you know, out of their day for, and we, that was one that I've heard from different founders in these interviews. It's like, that's right. Like I give my time when people reach out, but I've also noticed other founders give their time too, just to support.
Because we've been there.
We've been
So
there.
we
We're like, you're
understand.
not alone.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And we understand the challenges that are there. And like you mentioned, right, with mental health, it's really important because then by the time that you hear someone screaming help,
Mm-hmm.
or even
It might
saying
be.
out mentally, it's mentally exhausting. They're struggling, with the
Yeah.
stress, with the burnout and everything. So it's almost like we are a safety net for
Right.
each other. And it's like, hey, come on. And I mean, within minutes of just having to see other people there, it's like, I feel better already. You
Right.
hear people say, yeah, I feel better already. We're like, we haven't even said anything. Yeah.
Right.
It just feels good to
Yeah.
just know that there are other people that are supportive, but that also are in the same, realm with you.
Uh,
Yeah.
I love it. So this is, I'd love to get your perspective on this question.
Hey.
What do you like most about yourself that you're surprised other people don't recognize more in you?
Ooh, I'm pretty much an open book, right?
And I was like, I can see your interview. You're like, what are you talking about? I'm as transparent as it gets.
Very transparent, I mean, what you see is what you get. My yes is a yes, but the challenge, always has been, a no. And I find that in the people pleasing, where I want to
Yes.
do good and I want to be helpful. So then, saying no was a challenge, for me. And I think people didn't see that and couldn't see that, what, I mean, she's capable of saying no.
Yeah.
And
It's
I'm
hard.
thinking if I say no, then I'm mean, but I'm not mean. I'm just overwhelmed and I have a lot. As a
Right.
founder, everything is on your plate, whether you have people assisting you and everything, but the plate is full and it's your responsibility.
Yeah.
Yes.
The no. We tend to find ourselves to be people pleasers, don't we? Got to set those boundaries for
Oh, but
ourselves.
but
It's
I
hard.
say
It's
no.
hard. Yeah.
It's not hard.
Oh, all right. Give us some tips.
Well,
How do we do?
here's
Yeah.
the thing, right? Here's the thing, right? I realized, so this year I'm 59 years old. I'm turning 60 on March 9th.
Oh my
So I
goodness.
start
We got to
looking.
celebrate.
Yes. So I start looking at the years, right? And you say to yourself, okay, I've been blessed to be 60 years, around, right? But I don't want to be around for another 60 years because then I don't want to be in pain and not, being functional the way that I am now. So the reality is you don't have, this is me telling STEM, right? You don't have another 60 years around the world. So you've got to look around everything that you've been doing. Does saying yes to someone, help you or hurt you?
Yeah.
And it hurts me because now I'm having to have way too many things to do in addition to what I've said yes to when I don't have the time,
Right.
right? So that
Right.
was one. And the other thing is, many a time I think we are our own enemies because I make a lot of assumptions that if Jennifer says, hey, can you come on the show? And I say, no, Jennifer, I can't do it on the 8th, but can we try another time?
Right.
People think, well, if you do another time, then you've really offended someone. But I'm not giving a time when I don't have the time. But I am my worst enemy if I assume that someone is going to get upset with me or someone is going to
Right.
think I disrespected them. And if they do think that, I can't believe you just said no to me, the quick answer is, to be honest with you, I want to say yes when I'm totally available.
Right.
Make sure that I make the most of this moment and my yes be yes. So when I can't and I know I've got too many things, I'm going to say no,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Especially if they understand the why.
Yeah.
I
But
think
many
most,
people don't understand the why.
no. Uh-uh. Mm-mm. No. It's funny how the circles your circles change as you grow and scale as a founder. Have you found that?
I have found that even best friends that were best friends are no longer around. The
Yeah.
language was different, and you start having people that see you as the old you,
Mm.
but as a founder, you continuously are growing and
Yeah. You
Most of
have
the
to.
time, yeah, it's growing to meet the needs of the people that we are serving. So it's no longer about me, it's about the people that I'm serving, because then
Right.
it's a service, and with that service I have to continuously make sure that I change to accommodate and make provisions for the people that I serve. And as you do that, you've changed.
Right.
And yes, your tribe will say, "You've changed. You don't even have time for us. You don't even have to." And you literally, even sitting down at the conversations, they're different. Like, okay, what are we talking?
The relationship, or you've got to go, they're now, they used to be in my inner circle, now they're kind of in that, that outer circle. And also sometimes the energy of those, you want to move them out of the circle because they're not, like I think you said it, of, is this benefiting me, is
Yes,
this adding value to me?
yes, yes.
And I think we have to always evaluate that as founders, to go, who's at that core, who's making sure that they're safe, but it's protecting our energy or lifting us up, because it's tough days sometimes.
It is. And that's why I emphasize, and also with the people that I work with, I emphasize journaling and writing
Yeah,
things down, because it helps us with the mindset reset, because we have to do that
that's right.
all the
I
time.
started doing that. I think I've said this on the show before, but it's completely been, I mean, I've done a couple of practices I've always done. I don't know if it's considered journaling. I need to remember what it was. Somebody on another podcast called it what I do. I call it a brain dump.
Yep.
But I just, if I get really overwhelmed, and it's usually about once a week, I just come in and I just, whatever's on my mind, I just completely just write it all down, just get it out. And then I can look at it, and then I can start organizing it and compartmentalizing of, okay, well, that's home stuff, that's kid stuff, that's, work leadership stuff, that's, client, I got to serve that. This is business, or community or whatever. And I just, and then going, what's really priority? What's deadlines? But just getting it out of my head,
That's it.
is one thing. I've always done that, but I didn't know there was somebody else was like, there's a term for that. I'm like, oh, it's not just called brain dumping. Brain dumping.
But that's what it is.
Yeah.
Journaling is brain dumping.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's not any kind of like that. It's literally like, get the to-do list, you know,
Yes.
out of my head. And then I started this, I don't know, 12, 18 months ago. I'm looking at Chandler going, he's like, I don't remember when you started doing this. It's been recent.
Yes.
And it was advice from another, founder that was like, just because I was like, look, I don't have time to like write, because
Okay.
I've got some other founder friends, they journal.
Yes.
They like, you know, can fill up a notebook a week. And I'm like, oh, I can't do, like, I don't have time for that. I can't do that. But somebody was like, just three things, like just write these three things at night before you go to bed, clear your mind, and write, the one thing that brought the most joy in your day. So what was the moment of joy? Number two was what's giving you the most anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
whether it was something that's still like lingering. I call it ghosts, like those brain ghosts in your head of like what's lingering in the past, or something I might be anxious, like I'm not looking forward to that call I have to make tomorrow. But they're like, just take a note of it. And the third is like, what are you most looking forward to in the future? And it was interesting. I started doing it and just like, and then I don't know, 6 months later, I started flipping back through just some of the note, and I found it kind of comical, but just it was an aha reflection moment for me of, wow, the things that I was really anxious about were so stupid. Why was I anxious about that? Like that was not a big, it's just, so it's pushed me to, they always say, get comfortable with getting uncomfortable, and, being more fearless, and, doing that. And that has helped me kind of realize, you know what? I am way stronger than I give myself credit for. I also needed to realize I needed to celebrate some wins, even like the smallest steps, and recognize those things, which might seem like silly to other people, but they were big deals for me.
Oh, yes.
And just to just to give myself, that space and that encouragement. And but I love that like, and I recommend that to anybody that's like, I don't have time to journal. I'm like, you have time to answer three questions, and like they're one lines. I mean, it's not like I'm writing a page for each one of those. It's literally like I made my daughter laugh might be the only thing that was a moment of joy. I mean, it's, and sometimes like we want a client might be a big thing, but
Yeah.
um,
I go with it almost the same way. I like to write my day as what were the aha moments, what were the exciting and win-win moments, which ends up being like a form of gratitude of what I'm
yes,
grateful for, right? So I like those, because as I wake up in the morning, I'm looking forward to those surprises that I'm going to get through the day. What are the aha moments that are going to come today? What are the surprises that are going to come today?
right. Oh,
Because then at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, what were the aha moments? Well, I was, on a podcast where I talked about that was it, because this definitely will go on my
yeah,
aha win-win moments, right? So as I focus on those things that are going well, I tend to expand on them. The more things come because now I'm anticipating more
yeah,
good things to come. Whereas
yes,
now, there are moments where I sit down now and say, okay, what is bothering me? Because then there are times where you just come and your energy is just not right. And
right,
so I take my book out and I say, okay, what is bothering me? What am I thinking? What am I feeling? Is there anything that triggered me, to feel this way? Did I talk to someone? Did I read an
right,
email? Because then I'm trying to weed them out. Because then
right.
if I talk to
Like, I don't need to be around this person anymore. They bring my energy down.
if I talk to Jennifer and I'm talking to Jennifer at the beginning of my day and then my whole day energy is shifted, I won't talk to Jennifer in the morning. We won't talk at night
We're
or
gonna
in the afternoon.
That's right. Let's hope that's not the case. We're gonna pep you up for the rest of the day.
Yeah, no, right? Yeah.
Oh, but I like that thought. I was like, ooh, we could make, since our tagline here on the show is where aha meets, meets oh shit. So like the ahas and the oh shits. It's like, do we just make a journal of write down your ahas for the day, write down your oh shits for the day?
You know what?
That would
That
be,
is the brilliant idea.
I'm going to do it.
It really
Like
is.
Chandler's over here going,
Yes,
yeah, duh.
yes,
See,
yes.
I laugh because I come up, we come up with things. I'm like, is this brainchild? Or, because we get so close to our own business that sometimes because like I said, I'm in marketing and stuff. And it's like, man, it doesn't matter whether you've got 30 years marketing experience and branding experience. The closer you are, it's really hard
Yes.
to, we look we have our nose printed to a painting and we're looking at every brushstroke versus we can't step back and go, let me see what that painting looks like. What is it? Is it, is this abstract? Is it, some other kind of impressionist? Like what type of painting? And you need somebody, like you said, you need a coach, you need other people that are looking at the painting because you are smack looking at those brushstrokes.
Exactly. The question that you also can add on your question
Yeah.
is either whether it's a week, you can say to a person, you know what, when you look back in your week or just yesterday, can you think of one aha moment and one shit moment that happened? That would just throw.
Right.
Yes, to say, can you think of an aha moment, or even in the time that you were in your business? Is there an aha moment or an
Yeah.
shit moment that you
That's right. Like you need to journal that. Well, because we always ask that on the show. Like, what's been your biggest challenge? Like, what was your biggest like? Shit,
oh
what have I
shit?
done? Do you have one? Do you have a good story of a oh shit that you've overcome? Or maybe we've talked to some founders. They're like, well, I'm right in my oh shit moment. Let's talk through it.
I'll tell you what. I'm gonna go with it now since we're suggesting this, right? One of my aha moments, as I mentioned at the beginning of the business, when I started, I worked with teenagers, which I didn't want to do, but then ended up enjoying
Yeah,
working with the teenagers.
it's a gift.
Yes, but as I was working with them, I realized that the mothers themselves, the professionals, the mothers that have these ambitions now that they couldn't go for because now they're parents now needed help as well. Hence, now with the bounce back work that I do, I work with women, empowering women because and that's just my personal opinion that a mother is the central piece of any child who becomes now a mother herself himself and a
Yeah.
father himself, a husband, a wife, but it all starts with a mother, right? So if we inspire, empower, and encourage the women to be the best version of themselves in
That's
careers,
right.
businesses, transitions in life, then we actually have raised well the children that will come under their wings.
That's so good.
Yes. So
Big
that was
aha.
an aha moment.
That was a big aha.
Yes. And a shit moment now
Yeah. Give me a no
is
shit moment.
the notion of do one thing at a time and focus on one thing. I didn't listen to it because I'm a social worker at heart. I'm a mental health professional. So I help all people. I counsel men, women,
Right.
children, So I wanted to serve everyone. And I'm
Right.
like, what do you mean? Everybody needs to bounce back from life and
Right.
from, I mean, grief, divorce, work, aging. I mean, we think we're young and then all of a sudden you wake up, you're old. So it's like, okay, how do I work? But I started bounce back literally during the COVID-19 because I didn't think that I was going to make it out. And neither did a lot of us. We didn't think we would bounce back. I said, you know what? It's time now that we build that momentum that says no matter what,
Yeah.
I will
We're
bounce
going to
back.
bounce
Yes, I
back.
can. And yes, I will. So, part of that, shit moment is coming back and focusing on one population so that, now I work with women, I can focus on that. And then somewhere, somehow, they usually will bring to the conferences, to the workshop, a partner that's a husband. I want you to hear this. I want
Yeah.
you to understand this. But the focus is for those of you that are founders, focus on that one thing because then you can serve. And we
That's
like
right.
to serve the people, but we got to get paid.
Right. That is the name of the game, isn't it?
Yes, we gotta get
We
paid.
got to
And to
get
get
paid.
paid, focus on one population,
Yeah.
one idea, because then once you're a founder, you're an ideas person, and ideas fight to come through your
That's right.
mind. Like, I want to do this, I want to do this. One of the oh shit moments was, okay, I gotta quieten everything else and just narrow it down and focus on one thing.
That's right. Okay. So if you had to change two things about your business today, just right off the bat, what two things would you change?
Yes, always. Yeah, always. So I think part of it is I've already started the change because, part of it is mindset,
That's right.
reset that we do a lot in the bounce back because in bouncing back, you've got to have a different mindset. Hence the bounce back. Yes, I can bounce back. Yes, I will. So what I changed was, I also established a new division, which is the boutique, an online boutique that has all of
All
these
that.
clothing so that now it's not just, I have to change my mind. I have to do it this way. And I wake up in the morning and I put this, bounce back here. My mindset says, okay, whatever it is today, we gotta do it. And yes, I can. And yes, I will. Let me pick two things that I need to do or three that I need to do today at the end of the day, because many of us, right, we're still working full
Right.
time to pay the bills and also having these businesses on the side. So even if you're a founder in the business, I work in the business as well. So you've got to have that mindset, of how do I improve on the business. So it's that improvement. So I changed that. And also I was a candidate, as I mentioned, who was serving all populations
Everybody.
and
Yeah.
everyone. So now I work primarily with women only, and men will message and say, so you think men don't like it? Everybody has, a path. I'm going to stay in this one path, for now, because now I need to make an impact, with, the
In
population.
that population. No,
Yes.
that's good. So okay, if we met a year from now for your birthday,
61.
61, what would we be celebrating besides your birthday?
We will be celebrating I have a membership program that I also started
Okay.
this year. It's called My Best Life membership, so that, hey, the focus will be living on my best life. So we will be celebrating 500 members of My
Let's
Best Life
go. Let's
because we want
manifest that.
we want a
500
new
members. Here we go. My
yes.
best life.
We want a movement, right? Can you
Yes,
imagine? We're talking about the support and energy of having other women who are in the same place and same struggles as you, but also there are those that have the successes that you're yearning and wanting to have.
that's
And then
right.
everybody merges and we empower, encourage, and inspire each other. So it will be a movement where we are dancing and celebrating victories and, steps that people will have taken, in the bounce back movement.
I
So
love it.
yeah, I call
My
it the
best life. Okay.
unstoppable movement. We want to
Yeah.
be unstoppable, free, and fearless and wealthy. So
Yes.
yeah, there's gonna be wealthiness where people are like, well, guess what? I manifested. Not only did I manifest the business of my desire, but I also now am earning and living a different lifestyle, which is equal to
It's
what
part of that.
yes,
Absolutely.
yes,
So if you reflected on your founder journey,
yes.
what is the word that would describe that journey? That one word and why?
Fear.
Fear. Tell me
Yes.
why fear.
And with everything that I do, even the clients that I serve, when they report their wins, they're always saying, I love that you're fearless. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm fearless. So fear in the sense that at the back of your mind, when you're doing all of these things, I am a Christian, a believer. I'm praying that what I'm doing
Yeah.
works. I'm praying that these people will buy into the vision that yes, you can, and yes, you will. And no matter how far you fall, you can get back up and things will work out, because some people will want to stick and stay in what it is that they want to do, that they've
Yeah.
been doing. But by the time that you meet with the coach, it's because some things are not working. So,
Right.
there's also that tug of war of just, having to loosen people up to be open to new opportunities and new ways of doing the same business or the same careers that they're doing. What's the use of paying all this money when you're not going to be open to the change? So there's
Right.
that fear on
And you got to just work through the fear.
yeah, so I worked through the fear, but let me tell you something. It's not something that you can totally wipe out.
Yeah.
Some fears are
It's still going to
situational.
be there.
Yes,
Yeah.
some fears are situational, depending on the situation, depending on what you're working, but it's normal. So the key is to normalize that fear so that it doesn't hold you
Doesn't
back.
doesn't paralyze you.
Yes, or get you
Yeah.
stuck, or get you
Yeah.
stuck. Because then, I come in as the get unstuck coach,
Right.
so that we're not getting stuck.
That's right. Everybody needs a coach like that. I have one like that
I know,
that
right?
pushes me forward.
Yes.
So okay, so what if you had no fears? What would you be doing? Would you be doing this exact same thing, or is there something that you're like, oh man, if I had absolutely no fears, I would be doing this?
Oh, at 59, I don't have no fears at all. I'm doing it all. I have the Bounce Back Empowerment Conference, that I do annually. This year will be number 6. I started
Where
off,
is that? Where is that held?
it's going to be in Melbourne, Australia.
Ooh,
I know. So we're going to be traveling around the world with the Bounce Back Empowerment Conference, because then everybody around the world needs,
yes, they do.
encouragement and inspiration. But the reason why I want to travel around the world, it gives me an opportunity to see the world, one, but it also allows other people that are, you know, maybe in my old days where I didn't take vacations, I was
Right.
all work and no play. So I'm also encouraging other people to say, hey, let's go to
That's right.
Melbourne, or let's go to the
We
UK.
can make this a vacation that's also a personal development. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's the reason why, I'm doing those things there. I am an author of over 50 books by
Whoa.
myself that I've written, that are all on Amazon. If you just put in on Amazon, Dr. STEM books, I have motivational, inspirational, and encouragement books that are there.
50? Woman. Okay.
But that's what I'm telling you, that, there's nothing that I can say I haven't done. I wish I could do
I
this. No,
know.
I've done it
I've
all.
just like over the break, I was laughing with our team. I came back. I was like, well, I built an outline for a book that has been it's on branding, marketing, and advertising. It's trying to work.
Yes.
But I was like, I've done an outline of 25. I've written three now chapters. and working through. But I was like, that's one of my goals this year
Yes.
is just to knock out that book, because I was like, I got 30 years, very unique experience.
Yes.
And I see a gap in the marketplace big time of the thinking, the discipline. It's just not there. And it's not bringing it down to like CEO founder level
Yes.
to speak that language. It's just, yeah. So I'm
So
excited
it's
about that. I'm
interesting.
going to do it, but like 50 books, my goodness.
Yeah, but
Maybe
it's
I should break these up into 3 books.
yeah, it's interesting you say that, right? Because the best way to start, which is the way that I started as well, is to write in an anthology with other authors so that you can start your brain idea in there with one chapter. Because then 3 years ago, I decided, let me do the bounce back books. In the bounce
Okay.
back books, it's an anthology with about 20, 25 books each year. This year will be book number 3 that we are
Whoa.
doing. So the first one, I hope you can see this here. You see, bounce back, setbacks to comebacks. I have 25 authors that wrote a chapter in here.
Ah,
And what they did now, because I am a coach, right? But once you are a part of the bounce back book series, right, I can help you now expand your chapters and put it
into
out
that.
as a book.
Well, I'll give you a chapter.
Yes, so I definitely want to. Yes, I definitely want you to do that. And then last year we released this one here, from dreams
Okay.
to
So
reality.
that's how you're okay. So there it's all
Yes,
these stories. Oh, look at
yes.
all that.
So
Okay.
all of these are our, authors that are there, and as you can see, mostly of them were women. But last year, men said, "Well, I want to be a part of it too." I said, "Okay, go ahead,
Right.
let's do
That's
it."
right. Get on
Yes,
in.
yeah. So
Okay.
this year we're writing one. It says from struggles to success, and guess who's struggling to finish a book? Jennifer. So we're
That's
gonna
right.
have her write a
We're
chapter.
going to write a chapter. I will write a chapter.
And then right after that, we have her whole book on marketing because we need it,
Yeah.
out.
We
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to do it. Okay, so if you had to fast forward to your next chapter in your life, your journey upcoming, what word describes that journey?
Do I just have to do one word? Can I do three?
Okay. You want how many
Unstoppable,
words do you want to do?
unstoppable, free, and fearless.
Oh, there we go. I say unstoppable kind of sums that up,
I know.
cuz it's like fearless, it's
Free
got to happen to
and
be unstoppable. All right, unstoppable.
yeah,
Fearless. What was the other one?
free
And
and
free.
fearless.
Free. Yeah.
Free and fearless.
Free and fearless.
Yes.
I
So
love
the
it.
question now becomes in everything that I do. Am I being unstoppable? Am I free? Am I enjoying the journey? Am I enjoying what I'm doing and
You
who
are.
I am with? And then am I being fearless? And fearless means producing action and having results and making changing lives and getting,
Yeah.
feedback and testimonials. So that's the part of that fearless where now you're impacting more people than you ever dreamt of. And you're also getting out of your own comfort zone. So
Yeah.
unstoppable, free, and fearless sums it up for
I
me.
love it. My word for 2025, I feel like the last couple has been a rebuild journey for me. But my 2025, and it might go beyond that, but it's of
And yeah,
ascend of like I'm transforming. I've got to like rise above. I've got a lot of energy, and so like it's time to let it out. Like yeah.
yes.
Unstoppable is a much
Ascend.
more energetic word. I'm not know if I'm there yet, but
Yes.
I'm working towards it.
That's what we do. That's the shit part of it.
That's
We want to do it. We want to do it. We're founders. We got this
we
idea.
gotta
And then, shit. Okay.
I get it done. Well, this was so fantastic. I love this conversation, and it goes by so fast. Before we go, okay, hold on. A couple things before we go.
Okay.
Is there a piece of advice that you were given as a founder, business owner, that you really took and you're like, this is something every founder needs to know? Is there any advice or insights that you've been given that you want to share?
Without even people knowing it, that I had this inner fear in me that prevented my light to shine, that prevented me to do what I believed I could do. People, in one way or the other, reminded me and they said, "You've got greatness in you. There's something in you that is just big, bigger than what you perceive or what you see. But we just see that you're not even
Yeah.
believing that you're this good and you really got this gift." So, for everyone, there is no idea of being a founder that comes to someone and saying, maybe I can start a program for children. Maybe I can start a podcast and interview this population. Maybe I can. That idea comes because you've got it in you to do that. There is also a path that is already ordained for you to
Right.
say, you're going to be doing this here. So why be afraid of something that has already been planned that you're supposed to be doing? I have learned to enjoy the ride, to enjoy the journey. So I say to everyone, you've got it in you. Believe in yourself. Keep doing what it is that you need to do, and ask, why did I get this idea? Because there
Right.
is somebody who's waiting for that idea.
And just do it.
Yeah, just do it.
Do it.
Nike.
That's right. This episode was sponsored by Nike. We'll give them that.
We wish. We want them to sponsor
We
it.
want them to, yeah. Well, shout that out. So I'm amazed we're out of time. I've loved this. I love this show and this conversation.
Yeah.
Before we go, how do you want people to connect with you, find you, learn more about you? Where should they go?
Yes, thank you for that question. People can go to bouncebackacademy.com or drstemy.com, and there you will find information about becoming a co-author with us. I only have a few slots that are left, so please come and join us and be part of the struggles to success journey that we're writing about.
Absolutely.
I definitely would love to meet with you, anybody that wants to be a co-author, and we can talk about, what it entails. We also have information about the, My Best Life membership, because women, we're starting to gather in My Best Life, because we're going to make this a best life for
It
each one
is.
of us.
We only have
Yes.
so many summers left.
We only have so many summers left. Let's make the most of it. We are entitled to being healthy, happy, and wealthy. So let's do it together.
That's right. And that's Dr. Stemmie. That's DrSTEMMIE.com. Isn't that the
Yes.
website? Okay. We'll make sure we tag everything too.
I
And
forgot, Jennifer.
yeah.
I also have a podcast where I'm looking for people to come in and be guests with us. It's Bouncing Back Podcast with Dr. Stem. Information is again on the website on you coming in,
Right.
but you can send me a message from the website
I
as
will.
well.
I'm going to come on that show.
Yes, you
We're
will.
going to do that. We're going to have this conversation again on your podcast.
Awesome. Yes,
I
I
love
would love
it.
to do that.
So thank you for hanging out, and for everyone listening and watching, thank you for joining us. This podcast will be available on your favorite podcast platform. So subscribe to Hello Chaos, give us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. We love it. Or share this great content and help us build a more connected entrepreneurial community. Hello Chaos is one of the many resources brought to you by Orange Whip. That is Orange Whip, WIP for work in progress, because that's what we all are. Orange Whip is a multimedia company dedicated to serving founders and entrepreneurs in affiliate cities. We've designed hyperlocal media platforms to inform, inspire, and be the independent connective tissue between founders and their local entrepreneurial ecosystem. Our innovative digital zines are an all-in-one content hub with fresh and engaging stories, curated local calendars, and local dynamic roadmaps to help founders navigate those ecosystems with ease. We've really done all the hard work for founders, so they only need to go to one trusted source to find the local information they need. We're currently in 3 South Carolina markets today, and we'll be expanding to other cities in the coming year. Every city needs an Orange Whip. It's a must. If you'd like to be a guest on our podcast, send us or support us, send us an email at hello@orangewhip.com. Thank you for tuning in. It is where AHA meets OSHA, and we will see you again next week.